So when I said before in previous videos to go in and check that everything works well and that you can adjust the length and do the things that you need, I actually spoke too soon and realized that in looking closely at the results of the now rotating array with the extended top chord, so you see here, because the rotation construction plane is here at the origin, not out here at the end of the extension, and that the extension is a scale in the x direction. As soon as you start to rotate these, the extended top chord using the scale function along the x actually causes this new top chord, the extended one, to diverge from the geometry of the intended top chord. And I think you can see that when you look at each end of this in an extreme case. So when we were only having a few of these and having them rotate very little, or in fact if there were no rotation, this scale component works fine for extending the top chord. We can troubleshoot this, and there is in fact an easy fix. So apologies for having worked through something that is not completely functional right now, but we can fix it very easily with some troubleshooting that I've done. And I just want you to recognize that the thinking process that I used for the extended top chord, the way we did it before, was perfectly fine. But what we're going to do now instead is to delete all, except maybe the name of it. We're going to delete all of that functionality. We are going to change the slider so that it has a minimum of 0 and a maximum of, say, 3 feet. And we're going to put in an extend curve component that wants to get a curve, or in this case a set of curves to extend. It wants to know what type, and it's set at 0, which is line type extension, which is what we're going to go with. And it wants an extension length at the beginning and an extension length at the end. So in this case we can extend both the beginning and end quite smoothly. And so we can simply take this curve, drop it in there, take this slider, put it in twice, and we now, you can see it probably not so well in green, but in red, we have top chords that extend very nicely and very uniformly in both directions as this rotates around. So we are going to use this to drive the other geometry the way that we did before by connecting this up to what it needs to complete and wire the definition back together. So to wire it back together, we are simply going to connect the output of this extrusion here to create our end geometry that we want, and again down to the pipe holding shift so that those become the new piped top chords. And we see now that all of the geometry fits together as we want it to. So that would have been an easier way to do it from the start. And in fact, the extend curve component is one that wasn't there for me to use in recent or in past years. So things are getting better all the time. I'll now take all of this componentry and group that and have a cleaner definition that now works perfectly well. So I want to use the rest of this video to talk about baking. So let's say that this is the truss configuration that we want to bake into Rhino. First I will save my document. So now we're going to bake the elements of this definition that we want to have put permanently in to our Rhino file. So I've selected, holding shift, the support geometry, the loft geometry, and the pipes, and I've baked those in, and you can see them on the left. If I move my array a little bit and start to move that, you'll see the flexible geometry of Grasshopper continuing to be flexible, but then now we have durable geometry over here, so that if I close Grasshopper and come here to Rhino, I now have the kind of trusses that I wanted to have, and you could bake in lots of different versions of these. As you can see, I have a curve here that's going to be useful perhaps to create a beam or something like that, and I have a series of curves in a group across the top here, and each polyline has come through as a group, and then I can take out these two end ones. And I can take the curves that I have there and I can make a loft so that I have a surface now created on top of this structure. I could extend that out if I wanted to by maybe going back to Grasshopper and taking that curve and moving it up in a similar way so that it's up in line with those, or I could try to take this surface and extend it. But for now, I'm gonna say that that's all right. And I'm going to take these end curves. Let's say in the back, I might use this to make a wall. So I might move my entire construction up in the air. So I'm going to go from the origin, and I might move up 20 feet. And I could take this curve, which is curving in section, I could project it to the C-plane. And I could start to enclose that. I could use that to create a wall. So I'll draw some lines to connect up the ends of this. And then I'll take those curves and I'll make a surface. I don't need 100 U or V spans in this patch because it is a slightly warped surface, and I can take this and I can create a solid by extruding surface. By a foot. So I can show my trusses. Now they're sitting on that wall. I think perhaps I want to take that wall and move it over, so that's easy. I can move it again by a foot. And I can take away this, or I could use that as a part of a screen wall or something. I can take these curves that I created, and again I could keep those, or they're superfluous now, so I can just get rid of those. And you'll want to put these things on proper layers. You'll probably want the wall to extend out. I could do a similar thing to make a wall over at this side, or create a series of beams and columns that would support this. So you can see here the kind of quick pavilion that you can make using some of the imported geometry that came along with the truss system itself to create a roof, which could be given some kind of transparency if you like, to create a wall in the back, or to create a kind of a simple post and beam system in the front, and which I've done with just a rectangular cross section. That could be an I-beam or something, and I can take all of that if I want to, and I could sort of move it back to be more directly underneath that. But I kind of like the way things are revealing their own construction here. Obviously the roof cladding would have to extend a little bit further to make this complete, but I just wanted to be able to give you a quick example of the kind of pavilion that you can create quickly with this very powerful Grasshopper definition for building it up from the truss system itself. Thank you.